My life in Jamaica was awesome. Essentially, I had the best of all worlds. I lived in uptown Kingston, which is a wealthier part of town, but my family's heritage stems from the heart of Bob Marley's West Kingston. So I had the pleasure of both being uptown and downtown, hanging out with the rich kids, hanging out with the ruffians. Moving to the United States was kind of a tricky situation. It started with this beautiful scar right here. Back in Kingston, while studying at the University of West Indies, I was attacked on campus. And so at that point, my family was like, all right, I packed up, moved to Miami. This was during Will Smith, I'm going to Miami, bienvenidos a Miami. So I was so excited, you know. I had 2 aunts living in Miami, and I decided I'm gonna pack up with 1 suitcase, just started sleeping on my aunt's couch, and then got my own apartment, and within a few months was really involved in the Miami community, a student, ended up moving to Tampa, where I finished up at the University of South Florida in my economics and political science degrees. And then of course, there weren't many opportunities for politics and economics in Florida, so I then got recruited to go to Washington, D.C., where I worked at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and did some work for the White House on the President's Volunteer Service Award, and eventually got recruited out of Washington, D.C. to move to the wonderful state of Minnesota. Naturally, moving to the United States, one has to give up a lot in order to become an American. I had to quickly switch from Jamaican patois to sounding as Minnesotan as I could to not stick out too much. The other sacrifice is naturally your food, the people you're familiar with and all that. And thankfully, as it relates to food, that created an opportunity for me. And so I would go home from my wonderful corporate job every day, missing home, and I'd fire up the grill and cook some Jamaican jerk chicken because that was a way to connect to home. And lo and behold, the neighbors would smell the food, come over, and I was like, all right, let's charge you suckers for it. And lo and behold, people were willing to pay for my Jamaican jerk chicken. And then that led to me leaving my corporate job to start my own restaurant, Pimento Jamaican Kitchen, which is more like an homage to my grandmother, whom I learned to cook from. We started doing other street events with my business partner, Yoni, who was also my neighbor, literally next door. We started the business together. We literally took my grill and a $100 tent from Target and brought it on the streets of Minneapolis. Our very first event was the Bryn Mawr Garage sale in my neighborhood, where I gave away the food free in exchange for people commenting on how they thought the food would go, giving feedback. We literally had a full survey. And so Pimento Jamaican Kitchen is definitely a grassroots movement that was started with the people saying, you know, I love Jamaican food, but here's how we can do it differently. So one thing, for example, that we do differently at Pimento is the jerk chicken is the same, but it's boneless. You'll never find anything such as a boneless chicken running around Jamaica, you know. And so it's just learning how Minnesotans appreciate it and how Americans appreciate the food, and we figured out how to keep it authentic yet flexible. Fast forward later, we got casted for and won a Food Network reality show, Food Court Wars, which then gave us our own location at the Burnsville Center free for a year. I've never worked in a restaurant, not even flipping burgers or serving it as a server. It's more so me learning through our Pimento experience, and I was basically doing both my corporate job and the restaurant at the same time. So 60 hours over there, 40 hours over there every single week. And then a year later, after the model was proven, then I felt confident and comfortable to step away to help grow the business. Currently, we're at our 3rd location and ready to open up our 4th location. And we also have our food truck. So the goal is to create Little Jamaica right here in Minnesota. Being an immigrant entrepreneur comes with its own mixed bag of issues. Naturally, one, you're not used to the community where you're living. Oftentimes, you're not used to the language that people are speaking. And then thirdly, the cultural approaches to American bureaucracy is a huge challenge for most immigrants. We also don't have the connection as to, oh, my uncle's father's cousin works where, there, and everywhere else. So we literally have to start from zero in order to build our own enterprises here. I'm a Jamaican who, as a child, born in Edina, Minnesota. Today is a perfect example where we were snowed in and I needed to go shovel the sidewalk. And I'm like, you know what? Let me take my daughter with me. And so there I am with this 14-month-old in a snowsuit. A snowsuit. Like, the first person in my entire generation to wear a snowsuit is my little daughter. And there we are out on the sidewalk shoveling snow together. And it was just an amazing experience because I'm like, nobody in my family has ever experienced this. America was invented by immigrants. We all came here to build, again, that great hope for so many people around the world. The future in America is for all of us, and that's what gives me hope, and that's what keeps me going every day to build our empire just so everybody else can enjoy that little piece of Jamaica here locally.